Hey, this is Mariela from the Functional Company. All right, so I had just come back from Europe, and I wanted to mention one other thing. I just made another episode about why it's so important to eat organic food and what some of the differences that we have there. But I want to kind of pinpoint something specifically, which is wheat, right? Wheat products, like, for example, croissants and bread and things like that. I don't know if you've noticed, but some people go to Europe and they realize, hey, how come I can eat the food here? How come I can eat bread here and it doesn't make me bloated? It doesn't make me gain weight. I don't have, skin problems, all of these things. But when I go to the United States, I can't eat the wheat there. I can't eat bread. It just destroys me. And one of these things that's very interesting to me, and it goes back to this chemical, our food supply has been completely destroyed by herbicides, pesticides. Monsanto's Roundup Ready has just for the last few decades has absolutely destroyed our soil. Now we genetically modify, genetically engineer foods to make them cheaper, to reap more profits, to make sure they don't spoil so quickly. And the wheat in particular has, grain basically, right? Rice and wheat and things like that. When you have it in the United States, it bloats you so much. It creates so much inflammation in the body, and it's not just the wheat itself, which yes, it is modified, genetically modified in a lot of cases, but also it's just being sprayed with these toxic chemicals that are completely destroying our digestive tracts and the ability for our cells to function and repair the way they naturally should. So that's one huge piece. And the other thing is that in the United States, they actually fortify the wheat products like bread and things like that with synthetic nutrients like B vitamins and iron and things like that to try to sell you a marketing thing on the label like, oh, fortified with iron, has B vitamins and things like that. But what's happened is that we're completely processing the grain to the degree that it's so toxic for the body that our bodies cannot process it naturally. Over there, you get a much more natural grain because, the food supply has not been completely destroyed the way it has in the United States. It's very interesting to note that that's a huge difference. Even with the grain, oftentimes people don't do well with, for example, wheat here in the United States, but they go over there and they're like, hey, I'm not having the same reaction. I'm not gaining weight. I'm not bloated. I'm not having skin problems. I don't get headaches, all these different things. I'm not getting diarrhea, but you come back and you try to eat bread and it's just like an explosion of symptoms that you get. And it's so interesting to note this big difference. But one of the key things here is that as much as possible, we really want to stick to organic foods. And when it comes to grains, you have to be so much pickier. Oftentimes, it's just better to eliminate grains if you're in the United States altogether. And if you are going to consume them, they're going to be from, for example, a bread like Ezekiel bread, which is going to be from sprouted grains. You might even have to make your own bread at home from a proper grain that, for example, Standard Process sells their own specific grain and they have a mill. Yes, it's a little bit more effort, right? Because you're not just going to get something off the shelf. But in the long term for your health, it's less effort because you'll have energy. You're not going to be bloated and tired all the time or have to spend all this additional money trying to fix skin conditions or hormone problems. Because we know these chemicals are also hormone disruptors for the body. These sprays, these chemical sprays that we put on plants. And the thing is that it's invisible to the eye. So a lot of people have no idea that something that they're consuming every single day is affecting their health to a big degree, So this is just something I want to bring to your attention because it's something that I think a lot of times goes unnoticed, but it's a huge, huge difference between the wheat or grain products that we see in Europe and other parts of the world and the ones that we have here in the United States. And that's why oftentimes it's just better to eliminate grains altogether in the United States or really be very, very picky and very selective and also just do it very sporadically in terms of having a grain here in the United States. So that's just the only thing I wanted to bring up to your attention today because I think it's something important. A lot of people aren't really noticing what's the difference here, right? So hopefully that information is very interesting to you as it is to me and that you find value in it. And if you do, please give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and go ahead and share this information to anybody who's eating bread in your life who could benefit from this information. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the flip side.